everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a couple altered shipping tags. These are things that people like to make. You know, sometimes we do artist trading cards, sometimes we do index cards, alter those. Sometimes we alter shipping tags. I'm not sure who started it, but these are manila shipping tags, and they come in all different sizes, and they're obviously an office product for some reason. But I thought it would be fun to do a couple of these. So I started out, I'm still traveling, and I am at my father-in-law's house, which he lives with us now, and I'm in his empty house. And there is a ton of plant life here, you know, all kinds of interesting things that I don't have in Arizona. I don't have, you know, I've got cactuses with spines. I've got a few plants that have leaves, but mostly just, you know, I don't have a lot of opportunity to pick plants for doing all kinds of fun things. So I thought I would try some eco dyeing, which is where you take paper and you bundle up a bunch of plants and then you boil it. And when you take them apart after they're dry, they're supposed to have these cool plant prints. Well, it didn't work. I don't know what I did wrong. I need to read more about it, but I made my bundle of all different types of plants and I boiled them and then I laid them out to dry and they didn't work. But what did work was they made a type of paper that looks aged, because I put a little bit of coffee, instant coffee in there with it, and a green tea bag along with my plants. And there's a few that have a little bit of something, but nothing like I've seen people do. So I need to do research. But I wanted to use some of that, so I decided to make a kind of vintagey, old looking tag by using some of these other papers that I had with me, as well as a couple pieces of that eco-dyed paper. So I did that. I glued them all down using paper, some wrapping paper, some different things that I had, just whatever it was that looked kind of vintagey. And then I grabbed out graphic, a magazine lady, and then a couple graphics from this pack that I got where you can print them out. You know, I printed the sheet out on my laser printer. It was from a class that I took, and it was vintage ephemera stuff. And I got this teacup illustration and then this copy of a postage stamp that's from Great Britain. It has, you know, the Queen on it, so it's from there. So in the combination with this kind of sort of old, I thought vintage looking lady with like an old-fashioned bathing suit and an old-fashioned haircut. I mean, she's maybe not as old as the other stuff, but I thought it went. And I liked the red against the neutral background that had all these other kind of patterns on it, but I had toned the neutral background down with a little bit of very diluted gesso, just so that I didn't have so much of that black standing out. And I liked the red against it. I thought it was a great combination. Also, today when I'm filming this, it's 4th of July, and red just seemed like the right color to do this. So that's what I did. I glued all those pieces down. I trimmed them out with some scissors to make sure that all the cuts were close, and then glued them down with my Yoo-hoo glue stick. Then I have this mark making tool that's the inside of some Scotch tape, and I used StazOn and stamped a little bit of that on, and also put the dark brown StazOn around the edges. You know, I like to edge everything that I do, pretty much all of it gets something like that. So I went around the edges just with the pad. Then I had this little scrap of lace that I had thrown in. It was on my desk, and I threw it in with my little pieces of paper that were torn up and were on the desk. And I thought that looked kind of nice on there. And I also had this other piece of like hand crocheted lace, and I thought that would look nice at the top because it's the right color. It's that off-white ecru titanium buff color, aged paper color. So that looked nice. My My other tag didn't get any type of fibers until I get home because I didn't bring fibers with me. That wasn't something I brought. But this one did because for some reason I had that little piece of lace and I thought it looked cool on there. So then I did a bit of altering of the magazine image with some crayons because the red was patchy and the skin was patchy. You know, it's a magazine image and it's probably been around for a while and it's gotten scratched or whatever. So I just did a little bit of my own touching of that. I also pinked up her lips and her cheeks and reddened upper lips and gave her some highlights in her hair. You know, that type of stuff with these Neo Color 2 water soluble crayons that I have with me. And I used my water tank brush to blend those so that would work. Dried it with my heat tool in a minute. I also used the very dark brown, Van Dyke brown crayon, and I scribbled a little bit out on my underpaper and then used that to do some shadowing around the edge of the image to make it blend into the tag a little bit more, the composition. I don't like things to look like they're a sticker and they've just been stuck on there. I like them to blend, and so I often do a shadowing to get that working. I also sealed it up with some matte medium. This is a fluid matte medium deco page from Deco Arts. And the reason I do that is because I don't like how shiny magazine paper is. I don't like shiny things. I like glitter and that type of shiny, but I don't like things that are glossy. I guess that's what it is, glossy. It's just a preference. But I think it looks better if it's been matted down. So I just put that over the whole thing. Also, it has the benefit of sealing up that water-soluble media. I added a little bit of white dot to her eyes and white to her teeth, and then gave her a little bit of red lipstick. I thought her lips were too pink, and they needed to be red like this swimsuit. Like, you remember that? Well, I don't remember it, but I have an idea from my grandmother or whatever that there used to be red lipstick that was super bright and red and kind of waxy. That was what I was thinking about. So I also added a little bit of red splatters with my Posca red pen, and this altered tag was done. I think she's cute. And I did add a sticker from my Tim Holtz sticker pack, Beauty and Grace. And why is she coming out of a teacup? I don't know, because I had it, that's why. So for my next one, I had a tag that had some paint scraped over it. At some point when there was extra paint from some other project, I just took my credit card scraper and just scraped the paint onto a tag. I have 1,000. I had at one point 1,000 of these tags because I bought a case of them. So it's a good way to use up that paint, and then later on you can do something with the tag. So that's what I plan to do. I took my Pentel pocket brush, which is an India ink flexible brush pen from Pentel. Obviously they make it. I love this pen. I recommend this pen. I hope you guys all buy it because it's awesome. And you can buy these different cartridges to put in, and because it's India ink, it dries permanently, which is pretty awesome for mixed media. And you can make fat lines, thin lines, depending on how hard you press on this little brush that it comes with. So pretty cool. So I decided to go abstract next month. In our Art Joy of Sharing art community, it is Abstract August, which is my favorite, personal favorite. Last year I did altered shipping tags through the entire Abstract August. I don't know if I'll be doing that or if I'll do some other stuff, but I like abstract. I think it's super fun and freeing, and just, you know, you can just do what you want, and then you gotta just get, yeah, love it. So I decided to make an abstract tag with this, and I just held the pen at the back and then kind of just let it swirl with my hand. You know, it almost makes me feel like rocking or music or something like that. I just let it swirl and made some lines over this bright colored leftover paint. Then, of course, because I'm a collage artist, I had to collage, And I wanted the contrasting color to this orange and pink, which would be a blue. Blue is a good contrasting color for this. So I grabbed some different scraps that were in my bag. Whatever I grabbed when I left my studio, you know, it's what I've got. And so I glued some of these pieces down using my DecoArt gel matte medium and my Distress Collage brush. Love these little brushes by Ranger. I think they're great for gluing down any paper. They are a little bit rough if you're doing something like a napkin or tissue paper like that. That blue checkered tissue paper got a little bit torn because I pressed too hard with the brush. But pretty good all around brushes. I like them. So I got my paper glued on there, different papers here and there, just kind of covering some of that paint and filling out where the paint wasn't, you know, because the paint was just scraped on there quickly. It wasn't covering everything. So that was cool. Dried it up with my heat tool, which I purchased at Michael's the other day because I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand waiting anymore. So I did get a heat tool. It's an inexpensive pink one. But once everything was dry and trimmed, I trimmed the edges off the tag. I went back in with that brush pen and drew back in some of the lines that I had covered with the collage. I didn't want to go too crazy with making everything tiny and fitting it in there. So, you know, you can always go back and fill back in your lines if you cover them up. So that's perfectly fine. There's no law against that. Then I got out some white gesso and a little brush and just added some white to my pattern. Filling in, going around, swirling with the brush with some white gesso. And I think it just makes the pattern stand out more because now there's more contrast with the white against the black against the colorful. And so that's why I did that. Also, I just did it, you know. I mean, I could try to explain myself, but this is my process and this is just what I do. So I did that, and in some cases kind of blended it out a little bit where there was a hard line. And I, of course, had to come in and dry that, but I think I cut the drying part out because how much time do you want to watch me using a heat tool? So once it was dry, then these are my Stabilo Woody pencil crayon thingies, water-soluble fat pencils with bright colors, and I used the turquoise to just kind of highlight some areas, and then I blended it with my baby wipe because I could do that too, no problem. Then I brought in the orange and the magenta, which is like a purpley pink one, and added a little bit more color, enhanced the patterns, and you know, made things a little bit more clear as to what I was going for. And again, blended that out with a baby wipe. The baby wipe's not very wet, and I'm just kind of patting, rubbing at the same time because I don't want to remove it. You could actually just remove anything that you added on the Stabilo Woodies because they're just water soluble and they'll wipe off. So that was, I just wanted to blend it, not remove it. Then I brought my acrylic paint pen. This is a fine tip white Posca pen, which makes a finer line than my other white that I was doing with a brush, obviously. And added some mark making, some lines, circling some of these little dots that you can hardly see from the collage paper, and making a few more extra ones. And I think that adds something to the composition, the mark making. So did that, added these bubbly things, and I was getting pretty happy with it. Added, touched up a little bit more on some of the black lines because I hadn't touched them all up, I guess, and some of them were missing a little bit still. So I wanted to make sure they stood out. And that's still the Pentel Pocket Brush, the India ink one. And then the last thing I did was to add glitter glue to this one. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I will be sure to answer you. or a question if you have one. You can subscribe, of course. I always appreciate it, trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. So feel free to subscribe and turn on your notification bells if you are enjoying this content and you'd like to know when a new video comes out. So that's it for my second tag. You will be getting some fibers at home. Bye-bye.